When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Mack's Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership. We give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Mack's Moving Training today.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers, y'all. So as everybody can see, moving is the foundation of a lot of this stuff, and it just branches you out to something so much, to the next level of what, entrepreneur it is. I think Louis Mazzaro said it pretty good, where he mentioned that this is like the pathway. It gets a lot of people started, and then basically we all end up being in our own successful field. Some still related to the industry that we all love and we all started from, and some branch into other fields like real estate, whether it be storage facilities, whether it be just real estate investment in general. But this is usually like that starting point for a lot of people. But getting back to the questions for you awesome moving owners, last question I have for you is, where do you see most owners leaving money on the table? And we'll go back to you, Stephen.
I think it's the hunt. I mean, in Memphis, we have a population of 600,000 people, and I always hear I'm in a small market. I'm in a small market, and I'm not saying 600,000 people is a small market, but we have only less than 30% of that 600,000 make over $80,000 a year per household. And we run 24 trucks. And so I leaving money on the table, they're not looking all around the table when I talk to other moving companies. Oftentimes they're trying to find their market as an excuse, and I need to go to another market to grow. When really they just need to look at every avenue. Are they the best? Are they the best in residential moving for 2-truck moves? Are they the best for 3-truck moves? Are they the best apartment mover? Right? Are they the best commercial mover? And then at that point, are they the best in each community around you? Right? I'm constantly watching Arlington is a suburb. I'm constantly watching Carterville. I'm constantly watching Germantown. I'm involved in those. And if we're not growing per the houses that are sold in that area that month, we're up in our involvement. We're saying, who the heck's beating us in Arlington? We got to do that better. So I think a lot of people focus on, I just can't grow when there's money on the table all around you. You're just letting somebody else get it in your markets.
Matt.
Yeah, I think right now where a lot of movers are leaving money on the table is poor lead follow-up. A lot of them just aren't really doing a good job at following up with leads. I even know, even in my sales process, that we still sometimes fault on that, right? Of finding a great way. And right now, there's no perfect science. You can follow the Louis Massaro method. We still do a lot of that.
Yeah, Matt, are you a 5X guy?
I do that. You got something better?
No, I was just wondering, 5X, that's what it is. For everybody that doesn't know what he's talking about, 5X is 5 times the follow-up and when he does the follow-up.
Exactly. And if you can kind of get a better follow-up method, I think that will really obviously help a lot of movers. I mean, we're still working on it today, but I think that's where a lot of movers are leaving some money on the tables. You can still get a lot of moves from just following up. So
absolutely.
So if you want to expand for the guests that may not know about the 5X method, either Steve or Matt.
I'll let Matt bring it down.
Wow.
I'm interested to learn it.
A lot of pressure. I feel like Ryan should take this over, man. I mean,
well,
he's the
I think
sales
Ryan
guy
and
here.
Jason could probably add a little bit in that regard as far as that 5X follow-up in their system.
I'm looking either way.
Let's pass it. Boom.
I think Dwight would do really good. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I would assume most of the CRMs, I know Moveitpro does, I'm sure SuperMove does, but you can pretty much automate your follow-ups in the sense of when it's going to tell the sales reps that they need to follow up with the customer. So 5X, they're probably, talking about what we do, is we hit the customer with 5 texts. We're going to hit them with 5 calls. We're going to hit them with 5 emails. And most of the CRMs, again, Moveitpro does. I'm sure SuperMove does. I'm sure Smart Moving does. That's programmable. So, I mean, we have some companies that they want to like eight time contacts. Sometimes they only want to do 3 times. And they can adjust that in their settings. And it's going to pop up for the sales reps to make sure that they're doing it. And Moveitpro specifically, we have a section that's leads and follow-ups, and it's going to show up when they're supposed to show up. So anytime there's someone in that list, they need to be followed up with a call. As soon as they do the call, it automatically disappears from the list until the next time they're supposed to be called. So it makes it really easy as a manager when you're looking to see if your sales team has done their job, to see if that list is 0 or not.
And you see a lot of clients, right? You see clients that don't follow up, and then you see clients that do, I guess, in a lot of...
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you this, Moveitpro, right? As Moveitpro selling, we probably 50X.
I know.
It's funny, we'll get all the time. We'll get people that have told us no 43 times, and then they sign up and they'll pay up front for 5 years. Like, it's weird. So just because it's no today, normally it's not no forever. The moving industry a little different, because obviously if someone's got to move by the end of the month, after the end of the month, if they've already moved, following up is not going to do you any good. But follow up is where there's money at.
Yeah, and I think Ryan said it best about building a relationship with these people and not making them transactional is going to be key for most situations. So yes, maybe they say no today or so like that, but they realize, that they actually build a really great rapport with you at that one point in time, that they keep you in the forefront of their mind. So later on, it becomes a yes, because they're like, okay, you know what? I'm buying you and I'm not buying the product per se.
Yep.
But I'm hoping that you have a good product.
Yeah. And what are you following up with?
That's what
it's all well and good that you followed up, but is everything cut and paste? Do you like cut and paste? Because that's not very personal, right? Well, if someone's going through a divorce, if someone's going through something big, you follow up a little different than if someone's corporately moving. Whether someone's moving out apartment or a big house, a multi-truck move, you want to follow up with probably not just your voice, but with yourself as well. Whether you need to get back on property, whether you need to have a virtual connection. People buy from the face, right? The close rates, look at your different close rates, and across that. So as you're going 5 layers deep, what you're going with, how are you doing that? What are you doing that? And when's the last time you secret shopped your company? What's that experience like? Grab a friend who you can sit next to and just hold on tight, right? I was live on stage in Orlando a couple months ago, live cold calling businesses with the microphone, right? And I'm talking, this guy had 766 5-star reviews. I was in a power washing conference, and it rang 9 times, went to voicemail. Well, that kind of stinks, right? So what ended up happening, actually, is kind of a funny story. I did that. The next day, another speaker was like, did you hear about the guy cold calling businesses live on stage? A guy was in my session, was like, oh yeah. And the guy he called sitting right here. And the whole group was like, oh my gosh. And, well, sure enough, that guy grabbed his marketing guy, found me on the show floor. I mean, of course, he's like 6'7" and like built like a tank. I'm like, okay, so this is how I'm going to die right now. All right, I got it. He shows up, marketing guys making all kinds of excuses, right? Owner's like, what time did you call me? So I'm looking. He's like, yeah, we just didn't pick up the phone, right? Well, the next one I called live on stage went to an AI robot. I know we love AI. I'm not anti-AI. But when I answered the phone, I was like, oh, yeah, I got a nice house. I got a big pool party tomorrow. I just need someone to power wash the pool I can buy right now. The AI robot said, that's great to hear. Can I collect a few more pieces of information before I transfer you? I was like, I got lots of money ready to buy, right? So you need to go ahead and have some cold call your company, see what it's like, and experience what that's like, and then change it when it's not right? Show your salespeople, sit down with them, show them gold standard. If you don't have gold standard, find a consultant that can do gold standard. So when you do the 5X follow-up, you're nailing it every time. Sorry, you got to get me off my soapbox, Dwight. This kind of stuff gets me going.
I got to share something too for all the listeners. Please don't cold call. Please don't use Big League Movers as an example. We've had an uptick.
It messes numbers up.
Yeah, we had an uptick this year. Or at the end, say it. So we don't count that as a numbers, and I'm not going down my sales guys. But we've had an uptick in people calling, and at least give me feedback too. Like, send me some feedback of your call on my call center. But just to share that, call me. I'll send you all the recordings in the world, good and bad, on that.
Gotcha. And then just the last person for this question, Ryan, because I know he loves this question. Where do you feel moving owners are leaving money on the table, Ryan?
Yeah. Everywhere.
Owning it on one section of business, I would say. I think knowing your personal market, right? I was in a rural town. I didn't have the 600,000 folks in my town like Stephen Reed did. I had 85,000. Actually, I think we've got 80,000 in the town now, but we still dominated our market. We're at every community event, right?
That's 5,000 long distance moves out there, Ron, that you had.
And we probably got 4,899 of them. But just there's distribution centers, right? There's universities, there's colleges, there's so much work in your area. And I always try to, I feel like moving companies, if they just sit there and go, oh, we're local, we're intro, we're inter. If they just say, hey, we're household good, what have you, there's so much money outside of that aspect. You all have great trucks. You have amazing people. You have warehouse space. You can do so much more than just pick up people's boxes and move them 3 blocks over. A crazy example is how many of you all here moving companies have had 80 to 120,000 pounds of Campbell's soup in your warehouse, or boxes of Fruited Pebbles, pallets upon pallets? Like
I've had cereal boxes.
Amazing. I mean, there's so much work out there, and we sit here and I say we, but a lot of companies rely on the peak season aspect, right? We always hear it, the 120 days of summer, the peak season, the this, that. That's just one small piece of the puzzle, right? Every different type of line of business has its AKA Christmas season, we'll say, and you all probably heard me say this a million times. I mean, commercial has its peak. International does have its peak. Household, we know, has its peak, along with universities, college, and so on. So staying ahead of that curve, I think that's where a lot of moving companies are missing the buck is, not dabbling in. I'm not saying dive headfirst into rigging and dive headfirst into fine arts, because that has a potential to absolutely set you back a ton. But just start thinking outside the box a little bit. I mean, like I said, there's so much business. It's easier work for the guys. Instead of this 30 to 35% profitability, 55 to 60% on particular commercial work. That's where it's at. How do you do more with less in today's market? And I think if we can start thinking outside the box just a little bit more, the health of the industry will absolutely get a hell of a lot better.
Everybody thinks about how much I can make off that truck in a day, but nobody thinks about how much that truck is when it's not moving.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Same thing with that empty warehouse space.
Can I add one thing too that James had mentioned earlier about doing a cold call? That was one of my big things of what movers are leaving on the table. I'll tell you, it's unbelievable how many moving companies you call and they go to voicemail. And that's part of our biggest selling part of why people come to Lion's Den, because if someone calls your moving company at 9 o'clock at night, they're going to get answered and booked. But so many movers, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and when my grandparents ran a moving company and then I took it over back in the day, we had an answering service, which was terrible at best. They just took a message. But that's all there was really back then. But there's so many options now, whether it's with, Stephen Reed and getting with Ready Rolls and getting someone to answer calls after hours, or getting with Lion's Den, or Tim Krupp's got Movebees. I mean, there's so many options that no customer should go to a voicemail anymore, because if they go to a voicemail, I mean, in reality, we're in this world now that we want instant gratification. And I know it happens to me when I call for anything. If I call for something, I get voicemail. Half the time I don't even leave a voicemail. I just go to the next one on Google and I call it. So, I mean, that's a big thing if you own a moving company that, do you have calls going to voicemail? And if you do, you're guaranteed that you're losing money.
All right. 100%. So going to the marketing people now. So, and we'll start with Alex on this one. So what's one simple, affordable marketing tactic movers can use today to get more local business?
Well, it's tough, right? I mean, it's hard to say what's the most affordable method. I think a lot of what we're talking about here is strategy and the right tactics and utilizing the right people. I think despite a lot of diversity and everything that was just said, what it all boils down to is the right people and the right strategies, and ensuring that you're bringing in the folks that are going to care about your community and are focusing on those elements. You guys aren't in a business that has a ton of repeat business, right? like other home services where pest control, HVAC, lawn and landscape, those guys are putting you on retainers and you're paying 80 to $100 a month and they're coming all the time and that's great. You guys have to leave a lasting impression one time, right? And I saw someone, I think that Ryan was working with recently down in North Jersey, Ridgewood, and they posted about a story of, hey, we used you guys 35 years ago and you were our first call today. That is the impact that you guys need to have. And it's really about that. Stephen and Jason were talking about, having that impact. Jason, you brought up, hey, someone had a divorce. That's a very different phone call. Think about those experiences. Make sure you're training your people on what conversations to have and what notes to take. James brings up a great point. Just because you have the system to do lead follow-up all the time, that's a great tactic, ensuring that you're not investing a ton of money in Google. You're just setting up the right system to do follow-ups all the time. That follow-up is irrelevant if there's no good interaction between the people, right? So make sure when your salespeople are doing those follow-ups, they're taking little notes, they're putting in information so that when the follow-up happens a month later, 2 months later, 10 years down the road, I love, Jason, that you telling a story of, hey, I got 47 no's, but randomly on the 48th time, I got a yes. That's the point here, right? So making sure that you're training your people and your systems harmoniously, right? These things need to work together. Technology only goes so far, right? AI only goes so far. It's about how you're utilizing it and what you're investing in. But I honestly, Dwight, I think the biggest thing is, and what Stephen already hit on, it's about saturating your market, right? And that goes to all home services as well. People are looking to grow and expand their footprint, and oftentimes that ends up spreading them too thin, and then ultimately that sustainable growth goes away, and perhaps the business has to sell because they just haven't set themselves up for success. So I think, marketing is really only the deployment of good strategy, right? And so thinking about those things correctly and understanding, all right, am I the best two-truck system? Am I the best at moving in local colleges? Have I maximized each of those individual elements before I've decided to grow, right, geographically? I think across all home services, that is probably one of the biggest things that goes overlooked, is just trying to grow geographically versus saturating that market, owning it, making sure everybody in the community knows you, setting up the right partnerships in those local communities. Stephen, you were talking about, hey, is there a single company in my area that's relocating a lot of people? Call that HR department, set up a relationship with those guys. On the flip side of that, you now have a bunch of real estate agents with a bunch of open listings in the area. Maybe sales in your area for homes aren't as great, but still, those guys are working hard to fill those homes. And when they do, they can call you, right? You haven't even done the work for that. So I really think, wow, again, coming from the marketing agency guy, really, we're just here to enhance what the right strategy is and what the right tactics are. But that's got to be built on ownership and your sales strategy and your growth strategies, and getting that stuff right first. Then you can just set the right marketing tactics and tools to enhance that overall effort.
Okay.
On SEO currently, is there a more emphasis, in your opinion, that we need to do on local maps?
So I think the big thing is honestly generative engine optimization, right? So that's the part of AI that I think, people are starting to talk about, but they might not understand it quite well enough. Excuse me. You really need to start optimizing for those deeper tail searches. Google My Business profiles, Google local services, that's just the necessary evil that all local businesses have to play. I don't think there's any more or less that you can do. It's a playing field that we all have to deal with. Again, as the marketing guy, I hate it. Hey, Google. I'm not going to sit here and say we love it. That's our favorite thing in the world. No, we have to pay them, deal with them just like everybody else does. But I do think it's getting ahead of that generative engine optimization curve that's going to be the most important. Perplexity, Google AI, these things are driving right now. People are going directly to ChatGPT to do their searches and just clicking the web search item. So that's what you need to be thinking about right now, is not moving company near me, but what is that personal situation that someone's just gone through, and the longer tail search that they're putting in.
And the practical home robot going to tell them to do? Their future boss, right?
And the practical, tactical things that the generative AI is looking at that you can actually do, because I know a lot of people listening like, well, I don't even know what generative whatever Alex just said is, like, what do I do? What you need to do is simply make your website amazing. As we talked about earlier, what Matt said, use real photos and real videos. Generative AI can actually now look and see if it was stock photo, generative photo, or is it your real team and it'll watch your video. And it'll up in your algorithms in generative AI just by now going and getting your customer testimonials in a live video. Okay. Making that easy. You have to ask 7 times. Forget 5X. You got to ask 7X on a follow-up to get someone to write a review for you. And it'll look to see if it's authentic. Again, generative is going to read that AI, because what do regular people do? When we go to move, we go and we Google movers near me, right? That's what we do. But there's so much more that's going to happen now. As Alex said, there's going to be ChatGPT. People asking, how do I move? Who do I move with? I'm moving from Memphis to wherever, right? They're going to use that. And then these type of things, generative AI is going to look through for authentic. Like if you're just phoning it in on your wordsmithing on your website, if you're just phoning it in on whoever leaves a review, like you've got to go that extra mile and extra step, but it's practical. These are practical, tactical things you can do right now rather than just be like, hands up, forget about it.
That's right on the money, James. I mean, these basic, $2,500 a month, we do your SEO and manage your website. What does that mean? And what are you guys doing? And how am I different than the next guy who's 2 counties over
and can
from
I
me
cut
that
in
you're
on
working
on
with?
the marketing thing real quick? Because I feel like one of the biggest things that frustrates me personally, right, is that it seems like as an industry, moving as a whole is kind of locked into our idea of what marketing has to look like. And it doesn't have to look like that. Like if you have a good marketing team in your pocket, the bolder your marketing is within certain reasonable bounds, the better overall result you'll probably have, especially in this day and age where people are fighting a whole mess of information consistently being beat at them. So if you're just falling in that sea of pictures and videos, and if there's nothing special, if the quality of those testimonials are there, it's not, don't just pull up with your cell phone and a ring light and be like, all right, talk in front of this camera and give me this. I mean, if that's all you have to start, absolutely take what you have. But if you have the money to spend just a little bit more on getting high quality content, and maybe for marketing stuff specifically, if you're going to go run video ads of some sort or short ads or anything like that, really creative content, it'll really be worth your while. And that's something I've noticed on my end with a few of the brands that I've worked with while I was out there really hard into marketing, is that a lot of moving companies are almost scared to go outside of the few channels that we know are safe. And when you're in larger markets like Memphis, and you're in larger markets like Atlanta, New York, Philly, there is, just like there's a peak season, is like, we have our 120 days, and those 120 days of summer, 1,500 moving companies are finna just appear. They're probably not going to make it through the summer, but they're just going to appear during the summer. Everybody's trying to make some money. Some people are back from college. Some people are in between the high school, other things. And they're all going to be trying to market themselves as well. They're all going to be trying to push themselves as well. I feel like it's almost more important to be really spending on your marketing during the peak season, to really set yourself aside, because we already have all the guys in our industry that we know we're going to see there. We have all the other big key players we know we're going to see there. But then, like I was just saying, peak season, we're going to run and see a whole bunch of companies get founded. And while they're not going to last, and some of them aren't even something to be worried about from a business perspective, it's true competition. At the end of the day, when you're marketing, you're still competing with those voices. So you're still 100% competing with those voices. And so I feel like if you're not doing something, right? Stand out. Yeah. It's authenticity. It's a quality thing. And it's a risk thing. I mean, I don't think anybody here started a business not take a little bit of risk.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right, Ryan. So I know that you had to cut out, get it back on your road trip.
Yes, guys. Sorry, I got to cut out a little early here. I forgot this was a 2 hour piece here, but a lot what Jason and or JE and what Alex is saying about the content piece and authenticity and actual videos and pieces. That's what we're doing. We're hitting up the 1,500 plus different moving companies, checking out their processes, highlighting the hardworking men and women of this industry, shooting some really cool stories and handing back not only the raw footage to our amazing customers and potential future customers, but also carving out some nice videos that they can pop on their website, that they can put on their socials and things like that. So, typically this is a time of the year for most software companies that, it's kind of, I don't want to say our non-peak season when it's the moving company's peak season, but, rather than sit back, kip back and say, hey, this is kind of vacation time, we're doubling down and tripling down, and we're going to be in seat with these moving companies. I've already been in trucks. I've been in dispatch. I've been on forklifts. Just an incredible experience. And what a better way to, highlight this incredible industry. But, thank you, all you guys, Steven. Jeepers, my voice is going crazy talking to you.
How does everybody follow you, Marsh? How does everybody follow you this tour that like I'm following?
So we're popping it out on all basically SuperMove socials. You'll start seeing it just roll out now. So obviously a lot of video editing going on because there's just so much footage, and we're shooting everything in 4K, which I didn't realize how much space all that stuff takes up. I'm not.
I'm seeing the behind the scenes raw footage right now, huh?
I was just gonna say.
Sorry.
Ooh. Oh, my bad. I didn't.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. No, I didn't.
I was just saying, especially if you're shooting 4K raw. Oh, good Lord. The file sizes are insane, brother.
It's massive. Hey, we want to shoot the best. We want the best quality there, and you can do a lot more incredible things with it. But it's a pleasure to be on here with y'all. Keep on rocking out, and we'll see y'all shortly.
Thanks for all you do, Ryan. You're a moving force.
I'll see you. Be safe out there.
Take care, guys. Cheers.
All right. So the second question I have for you, awesome marketing people, and I guess we'll go with Cade because Cade's been a little quiet in the room. How can small companies stand out in such a competitive market?
Oh, well, I mean, in my experience, especially starting our moving company, and anytime I start a new company, it's really about exposure. If no one knows you exist, no one's going to buy from you. And so it's at the end of the day, reality is it's a whole system that works together. But when you are just starting out or you are a smaller company, one, you have to change your mindset. You have to realize there is enough business out there for everyone. You can't be afraid to grow. You can't be afraid to put yourself out there. Create content. Like, you don't have to have the greatest content, but if you're posting content and sharing stuff on your socials, and then you combine that with running some ads, people are going to see you. It really is it's about exposure. But then it also goes back to the whole follow-up thing, right? If you can't handle because you don't have the sales systems or you're not ready to take those phone calls, then all that marketing you're doing, you are going to leave a bad impression when those people come to call you. And like, I know we talked about 5X. I've never heard that law before, and maybe we're overkilling it because we call each lead 21 times in the first
Never
week.
Give up.
But we're big on follow-up, and that's because that's what my mentor and my business partner taught me. He said, yeah, the riches are in the niches, but the fortune's in the follow-up. Mm-hmm. And the reality of it is your business is a system, and
hold on. Can you say that one again? That was a line right there. What was that?
The riches are in the niches, but the fortune's in the follow-up. And we've lived by that. And so
Marsh.
The reality of it is there's so many ways that you can market and grow your company. It doesn't have to be with paid. If you don't have the money to do paid, then focus on putting your time in, build relationships. Some of the greatest relationships we've built has been with real estate agents and storage units. Companies that own storage units, whether it's indoor, outdoor storage, build relationships with them. See if you can't become their preferred mover. Maybe pitching some kickback. I know in real estate you can't technically give them kickback, but treat them well, right? Like if you treat their customers well and people they're referring to you, they will refer more business to you.
Hey, can I add one quick thing right there, and I'll let you give you back the mic since you just got it. In addition to real estate agents and self-storage, which are wonderful, probably your number one givers, you're gonna want to reach out to banks because people are getting their loans through the banks, right? Painters. People get their house painted before they sell and move or move in, and then appraisal companies, appraisers are good. So the size of your network determines your net worth, and recurring revenue is the liquid gold. Where is recurring revenue? In referrals, and how you make relationships and give those. So Cade, I'll give you back the microphone.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's a big thing we've always done too. Like, we build relationships with other companies that are constantly in the doors of homeowners.
That's I think what you touched on is huge for the smaller moving company to hear. Hey, one thing I just want to add on that is nobody knows your brand.
Nobody.
At first, they know you. You are the brand at first. Get your face out there, not that logo that looks just like mine. They're going to buy into you. You're hearing realtors, you're hearing banks. People are going to buy into you. I started with $1,000. People had to buy into me, right?
Yep.
You put your face out there. People will believe in it. Find what you can value in them, but you're the brand. When you start out, we're not moving companies. We're a marketing company at first, and you're marketing yourself to be a moving company.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, you
I think that's one of the most
literally
unique things about this industry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that question now rolls over to Matt. What was the question? How can small moving companies stand out in such a competitive market?
Stand out. I thought it was another question that you started with for the other guy, so I was already prepared for that one. But it was actually I might be biased. I would say it's going to be thank you cards. Like a lot of movers, and it was an affordable way. You said, how's an affordable way to market your business to get local moves? And I think it's just kind of saying thank you. A lot of the times we don't actually cultivate our current following that we have, or our customer base that we've already worked our tails off. We've already spent so much money on the marketing, so much on the lead. Why not use those people to kind of, spread the word, make it infectious, spread that word about your business, and make sure that they're telling their friends and family about you. I think that's going to be your most affordable way. But if you write a thank you card, that's just going to be a lasting impression. Or even if you write one a year after they moved, a lot of CRMs, like Jason's and such like that, I'm sure you can kind of pull a report and figure out who moved about a year ago. Hey, we moved you a year ago. Happy move birthday. Hope everything's settling well in your new home. Like, stay top of mind. I think sometimes we forget that it's very transactional, and we just kind of do these moves and we're like, oh, see you later, bye. And then we never talk to them ever again, ever send them an email. And it's like, we kind of got to continue to cultivate those folks. So would be my
thing to
answer.
point to, Matt, is that's you. The owner is writing a letter. Again, your brand, you're getting the relationship. They'll buy into the moving company from you on that side.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I think that goes to a lot of, I think that comes into with a lot of more story-based stuff. Like, I always say facts tell, stories sell. And I think, right, how can you tell that story and get them to buy into you, right? How do you get them to buy into Steven? How do you get them to buy into Maddie Mailers, right? Maybe like, and you said this earlier, Dwight, with kind of buying that person as opposed to the product. So I think that's going to be number one. But sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so I know we had a late guest, Ethan, who's in the building. He's actually in Africa, so I think his time frame was definitely off. But
what
Ethan,
time is it out there, Ethan?
Man, I'm in East Africa, and it is currently what time? It is 5:09 p.m. I'm a Texan through and through, but I'm currently in East Africa. It's 5 o'clock.
So just so y'all know, mornings with movers get around the world. So
worldwide.
Love it.
Worldwide, absolutely. Happy to be here, man. I wanted to make sure I came by to show love and definitely join the conversation. So thank you for bringing me in.
So tell us a little about Shift Enterprise Academy.
Yeah, man. What we do is we train entrepreneurs. We help people develop strategic plans, whether it be in logistics or whether it be in, just early stage ventures, primarily here in East Africa. But before that, in Texas. And so I know the last time we had a call when I was on here with you all, we talked quite a bit about, various marketing avenues. But also my biggest thing that I kind of had in my mind as I was coming in here today is, I think with any type of business, at some point you step back and just kind of make sure you're not just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. I think that some folks, just stop and make sure alignment is there. Someone earlier talked about mining your clientele. And I think that's something that I would really lean in on. But Shift, that's what we do, man. We're like a learning management system, and it's just been just increasingly evolving, looking to bridge the gap between the United States markets and markets here in East Africa.
Okay, nice. And Matt, I know just because you put in the extra homework, what did you have regarding that first question?
The initial question you just asked the gentleman about standing out as a small business owner.
Oh, no. So Matt, I know that you said that you was prepared for the other question.
No, I was prepared for that question. No, that's exactly my answer was right in tow with that. Sorry, man.
All right, y'all. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see y'all next Thursday on another episode of Mornings with Movers.